welcome to the show. Today we have guests or college students from all over the globe as this paleo diet is taking the world by storm. Today we'll have Chad and Brad from the Cappa Kappa Alpha Pi fraternity and Nurse Olga to inform us on the paleo diet. So please welcome Chad and Brad to the show. Okay, welcome to the show, Chad and Brad.
Yeah, Chad and Brad!
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So what is the paleo diet exactly?
Well, it's just a diet that's taking it back 2 million years to with the hunter-gatherer way of life. We just think it's a cleaner approach. It's a more wholesome approach. It has something to do with the discordance hypothesis, and basically what that is the belief that us people nowadays are eating in a way that our bodies can't handle, so we have to take it back to the old ways of doing things, you know?
Yeah.
The old ways. Sometimes new is not always better.
So what made you guys switch to the paleo diet?
Well, they've been calling frat boys cavemen for ages now, so we figured, why not just embrace it? The paleo diet's also called the caveman diet, and that's what kind of got me thinking that maybe we should give it a shot. Just embrace our caveman name.
Yeah. Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your cookbook, Saturdays Are for the Boys?
Yeah, so in Saturdays Are for the Boys, we talk about our experience with the paleo diet and how it's changed us for the better, and we give you guys some tips on what you can do to live paleo.
Yeah, so let me just jump in there, Brad. Our cookbook in the front cover has just our experience with it, like you said, but it also goes into instructions on, for anybody else wanting to give it a shot, and it's full of, as cookbooks are full of some recipes and whatnot that you can kind of go with. So yeah.
So what makes the paleo diet better than any other low-carb diet, like keto or Atkins?
Yeah, so with the paleo, it just restricts what you eat, but you can eat whenever you want throughout the day.
Yeah, because we as frat boys, we have to stay in top shape. We kind of have a rep to keep up, and lots of those diets, we've tried the ketos, we've tried the low-carb ones, and it's just too restrictive. You have to count your macros, and it just doesn't really work for our way of life, So this one, you've got a bit more freedom. You can eat your fruits, you can eat your veggies. You just have to watch out on your dairy and any added salt, but you don't have to be counting your macros. Who's got time for that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I've heard that people on paleo only eat raw meat. I couldn't do that. Is that true?
No.
That is the biggest myth around. You can eat, the idea behind paleo is just that you're eating wholesome, good foods. Your lean meats, your fish, your fruits and veggies.
So you can eat lots of meats and fruits and veggies. What's restricted in this diet? What can't you have?
Yeah, so basically anything GMO, genetically modified, aspartame, any carbs, also
no
added salt, added sugar.
Yeah, you really want to keep that sugar intake, the sugar that you're getting in your fruits, that's fine, but, don't go start eating sour keys. You're going to end up with a belly. And
What did you guys find difficult cutting out in the paleo diet?
Well, I think the hardest part for me is, like I said, we have a certain lifestyle and a certain standard that we have to keep up being in the frat. So for me, the hardest part was probably the beers. Saturdays are for the boys. You crack a cold one and just have a good day. But what about you? What was the hardest part for you?
Yeah, for me it was dairy. I love cheese, sour cream, milk, and so it was really hard to get rid of that stuff in my diet, but yeah.
So with cutting out dairy, how do you guys get your calcium?
Yeah, so they don't really like to talk about it, but on campus we actually have a community garden. We all the frat boys take turns. We garden and stuff, and we actually grow some kale, spinach. Also, we can buy things like chia seeds and almonds. And yeah, that's all I can think of. That.
Yeah, so we just keep our diet really high in that spinach, and yeah.
So why is paleo healthier than today's food? Like, we're living longer today, why would we want to go back to like 2 million years ago?
Well, I mean, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like, if you look back at 2 million years ago, I haven't done a lot of research outside of the paleo, but I know diabetes, that's a newer thing, and so there's lots of theories that maybe diabetes came with the crappy food that we're all eating. So it didn't happen with the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, so why not take a shot back in time and give that a try again?
Awesome. Okay.
You're sticking to leaner meats, and you know, you're getting less trans fats and less plaque buildup in your old pumper there, and yeah.
Okay, so on the paleo diet, you have a lot of high fats, or you eat high fat, I'm sorry. But do people end up gaining a lot of fat eating this way?
No, because you need fat in your body. So fats help with the cell wall.
So as college students, do you find the paleo diet expensive since you're buying lots of whole foods like fish and meat, vegetables?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you really can't put a price on health. Like, the nice thing is that these kinds of foods, they're really filling you up, and it's a wholesome meal. It's not like a little pack of those Mr. Noodles or something where you're just, you know, you're hungry 30 seconds after you eat it. Like, if you're wanting to live an active lifestyle, you're going to need to put in some money. But I think that the problem is that people compare it to something like McDonald's, where you're paying maybe you go to the store and you drop $50 on some fish and whatnot. But at McDonald's, they're like, oh, it's cheaper, you drop $10 on a meal. But what they're not taking into account is that this $50 covers like 6 or 7 meals for us. So it really brings it down. At the end of the day, it's just better for you. And yeah, maybe it's a little expensive, but overall, I would still really highly recommend it, because it helps with your thinking, it helps with your work ethic and your sports performance, and makes you look pretty good too. So I think, you know, that's important stuff.
Also, we have the garden I talked about before, so that helps us
Oh, the
with
garden.
the vegetables and
Cuts
stuff.
down some costs for you.
Yeah, the garden. These vegetables are pretty expensive, so overall, like our costs are coming from the fish, because obviously we can't grow that in the garden. But those, the veggies, our peppers, our carrots. We've got some raspberries and strawberries in there, and so that takes up a big bulk of our costs out right there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on to the show, and thank you for bringing your book with you. So what are some disadvantages of the paleo diet that you see?
Just with the red meat, there's more chances of getting your arteries clogged, and you actually have a higher risk of colon cancer, so that's kind of bad. And you also don't get any dairy or any grains, so without the dairy, your digestive system doesn't really have those probiotics to help with your metabolism and fighting off bad bacteria and just getting that movement right.
Okay. So is there any supplements that you recommend they take, or?
Well, they do have vitamin D supplements and calcium supplements and iodine supplements that are really good for the diet, just because with the foods they're eating, it's very, there's not really much in there with those.
Okay. And can you see anyone who shouldn't specifically follow the paleo diet, like if they have any disease processes or anything going on?
I think with kidney diseases and cardiovascular diseases, just with those, just because the protein is just so thick and all that cholesterol getting in there is just gonna back everything up, kind of.
Okay. And do you have any advice for anyone who is wanting to start the paleo diet?
I would say do your research and get in contact with your family doctor or dietitian just to see if this diet's right for you.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show, for your expert advice.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay.